Hello, beautiful people out there. My name is Mistress Sweet Pea, Mistress of Tech, and thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my podcasts. I hope everyone is having a fabuloso day today, and I hope everyone's doing well. We are recording live in Kansas City, Missouri, and we are having a somewhat great day today. It's been very quiet, which is good in a way. I do want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Please like, share my podcast, spread the word. I would really appreciate it. I am trying to work on changing around a few things, but nothing drastic. So I really appreciate it if you could share my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Mistress Sweet-P. And on this note, let's get started with our podcast today. Today we're going to talk about tech confessions and stuff that we do but we don't admit. So basically what we're going to talk about is today's episode about the tech things that we do but we don't want to admit to others that we do. So today's episode is a safe place, a judgment-free zone, a digital confession booth where you can admit what you do and there's no judgment. Because let's be honest, we all have tech habits that we never say out loud, like reusing passwords or having outdated devices, or we all have digital skeletons in our cloud storage, let's just say. So today we're going to go into this topic a little more. So the first part of it is password sins, reusing passwords. Now I talked about this in another podcast, a prior podcast, and it is a no-no, reusing passwords. Well, now let's start with that one. We've all done it. I've done it. I don't know how many times, too many times, but the last time I did that was my last time, because I almost got not only my account hacked, I almost lost my identity. So I learned, do not reuse passwords. You want to use a unique password for every single account that you have. Now, I know it's hard to remember them all, but please do not save a spreadsheet on your computer with your passwords. That is a no-no. I know people that do that, and I always say to them, you're nuts, because if someone got into your computer, they're going to see every password you have on that list. And that's it. You're pretty much toast. I have a notebook that I keep my passwords in, and I have it in a store. I have it stored in a safe place that only I know where they are. So if I need to get to it, I know where to go, that only I know. I write everything down because I don't want to have a digital copy out there floating around and someone can get access to it, and then you know how the rest of that goes. So passwords should be long, unique, complex, but complex and unique and long for a hacker to not be able to figure it out, but easy enough for you to understand. And again, if they get that complex, write them down. Like I use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols. I use a little bit of everything. So if let's say your password is password, use capital P, lowercase a, capital S, capital L, twist it around so it makes it hard for a hacker to figure it out. And we use them, and basically some passwords now, some companies even use pass keys, which are also good. I do recommend those. I do use them for several of my programs, but not all of them. So when a site forces us, sometimes sites forces us to add a number, and we add a 1 or a symbol or whatever. The more complex for a hacker, the better for you. And just remember that. But please do not reuse passwords. That is a no-no. And then there's also that forget password loop, the digital Groundhog Day, I like to call it, because you reset it, you create a new one, and then the site says you can't reuse an old password. I like that. I wish every person that has a website out there that built a website would do the same thing. Because some websites are starting to do that now. Some websites will tell you you can't reuse an old password, and they will catch you and they'll change it to something else. Make sure and then you realize that you use the same password. Some people even use the same password for years and they've never changed it. That is so dangerous. You need to make a habit, create a list or a reminder for yourself every month or whenever to constantly change them. Don't wait to be prompted to change a password. Change them, set a schedule, reminder for yourself, and change them periodically. So, and then there's also the other thing about security questions, which I like, because they're questions that are tailored to you, like your favorite drink, what's the name of your pet, your mother's maiden name, what city do you want to retire when you retire in someday. These are helpful, but you want to make sure that you do it so someone else doesn't understand what you don't want someone else to know. Like, you don't want your sister or a cousin or whomever to know the answers to these questions. You want to make sure to do it in a way where the other person won't find out. Because you have to understand, with passwords, if we don't do our part to change them, we're the problem, not the hackers. Because if we don't do our part, we're basically given free range to hackers and telling them, here we go, I'm an open book, take what you want, here's my social security number, here's my bank account number, here's the router number. That's what we're telling hackers, basically. We have to make sure we constantly change them. The other part is chaos with notifications. We ignore notifications until they become a lifestyle. So the next confession is notifications, the digital clutter that we try to pretend we forget about. We try to even pretend like they doesn't exist. Some people have 0 notifications, their phone's clean, organized, and then the rest of us, including myself, it's like buzz, 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 like every 5 seconds you get a notification, pop-up notification. I know a friend of mine I remember having meeting up with her probably 6 months or so ago, and like the whole time we're sitting there talking, like her phone's constantly going off, and I'm like, dude, like, what the heck? You running some sort of company I don't know about? And she's like, no, just all these notifications. I'm like, don't you get tired of it? I mean, I would get tired of it, but it's just like she had like about, I don't know, almost 30 text messages, so many unread emails, missed calls, app updates. I'm like, too much for me. So we scroll past the chaos like it's normal. We see the red bubbles and think, not today. We mute the notification, we swipe it and get rid of it. And the funny part is we get annoyed when the apps send us notifications, but we also get anxious when we don't get them. So we get bombarded with notifications, but then at the same time, when we look at our phone, it's like, wow, it's been 2 hours. I don't have any notifications. Then you start getting panicky, thinking, oh my God, did someone break into my phone? Did someone do something? So one of our second sins, notifications. Just, we start wondering, why? I always get an Instagram notification. Why didn't I get one? Facebook. No one messaged me yet on Facebook. What's going on? As humans, we are very complicated creatures. We really are. And voicemail is the other thing too, because we always check voicemail. And now you can also send now voice, like in messengers, you can do like a voice, like send your voice, like instead of doing a voicemail. But even voicemail is the same thing. People get bent out of shape when they don't get any voicemails, but when they do, it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with this right now. Another one, search bar confessions. We've all done it. We Google things that we should absolutely already know. Let's talk about search bars, our best friends, our therapist, and our emergency hotline for anything we need to know that we should know, but we like to Google it because we just like to. It's a habit. We Google things we know that we should absolutely know, like how many ounces in a cup, how to boil an egg, how do we spell this, when does Valentine's Day fall on this year, How old am I if I was born in 1974? These are things we should know, but we Google them because we're embarrassed to ask someone else. Like, I'm horrible with math, and I will be the first to admit I am not good at math. But I'm not one that's going to go ask someone, "Hey, how many ounces are in a cup?" I'm not going to do that. They're going to look at me and say, "Didn't you go to school?" I'm not going to do that. So of course, I don't. We all do. We've all done it. I mean, who hasn't? And then there are the panic searches, and these ones, I do take these seriously. So these are ones not to laugh at. But some people get a little overboard. Like if you like those Google searches where I have a pain in my left side, or I have a pain in my shoulder. You Google, I have a pain in my shoulder. Should I worry? And of course, it's going to give you your research results are going to show this, this, and this. And of course, you see something and you think, oh, I need to go to the emergency room. But again, I'm not making fun of this because sometimes it's been known that sometimes looking stuff up can save a life, and that's a good thing, But sometimes people take it way too far. Like you're self-diagnosing yourself. You're not a doctor. If you're concerned, yes, go to a doctor. But we Google, and that's part of our sin with Google and with search bar history, is with our search bars, we Google things that we're not doctors. We can't self-diagnose ourselves. And let's not forget about accidentally overshare searches. The ones we type too fast, like, why do I feel, like you type in, like, why do I feel this way today? Today I feel like such and such. It's like Google can't, or any search bar can't tell you, like, give you answers. They'll give you ideas or suggestions, but it's funny. We've all done it. I mean, I've Googled like medical conditions on myself, but then I stopped doing that because I'm not going to self-diagnose myself. But if you do have a true pain or you feel like something's wrong, of course, take yourself to the emergency room. Don't Google it. Just go to the emergency room. But, it's just, we've all done it. We've Googled stuff that we should know. And I've done it so many times. Our next segment, digital hoarding. We keep everything, and I mean everything, just in case. And I mean emails, text, voicemails. We're all digital hoarders in one aspect or another. So we keep thousands of photos, screenshots, notes for ideas to do later. We download old emails. I mean, I know someone that has an email from like 2015. Like, really? Like, I didn't even think that was possible, but I guess it is. And we tell ourselves, I might need this someday, so I'm going to hold on to that. Come on, guys. Do we really need to hold on to every single thing? Now, I don't know about you, but I've done a digital cleanse, and I thought it was the best thing in the world. In a digital cleanse, go through every piece of digital information you have and declutter. Go through like screenshots. Sometimes those screenshots, believe it or not, take up a lot of memory, whether it's on your phone or laptop or computer, desktop computer, they take a lot of memory. So go through each one. Make sure it's something you really need. If it's not, delete it. We've all done it, myself included. A digital cleanse will work wonders because honestly, we're not going to need it someday. If you think it's something you definitely need, then that's fine, but let's stop and think about that for a minute. You won't, like some people even keep blurry photos because you can make, and that's another thing. I had a friend of mine, she had a folder on her computer of just blurry photos. Like you can barely make out the person. And I asked her, I said, why are you keeping that? Why don't you just delete it? You can't even make out the person. Oh, because it was a memory from a time period. I get that. But why are you keeping blurry photos? You can't even look at them. But to each their own. But I highly recommend a digital cleanse. It will make you feel wonderful afterwards. But some people don't want to because it feels like we're erasing history. Like, I have pictures of my mother. Of course, I'm not going to delete those because they're my memories. And of course, we don't want to delete our memories. But what I'm saying is going through stuff that you don't need. Emails. Like, do you need emails from 2015 of a guy that you were, or a girl that you were going out with at the time? I mean, things like that, or even like old online newspapers, whatever. I mean, sometimes we just have to let that part go. The next segment, pretending like we understand technology, and we've done it. We nod like we understand, like someone's talking to us. Yep, I know exactly what you mean. And then the universal truth is, we pretend to understand, but then in our minds we're like, I have no clue what they're talking about. If someone says it's a cloud-based architectural microservice, and we nod like, oh, of course, yes. How can I have forgotten about that? Silly me. And then someone says to restart your router, and we stare at the router like it's a bomb waiting to tick off, and it's like, see, you call IT or you call, and they say, okay, well, you at your router. Okay, now unplug your router. We're gonna reset it, and you look at your router. It's like, where's the reset button? Where's the outlet? I mean, we all pretend like we know what we're doing, but we don't. And even though I call myself Mistress of Tech, I do know tech stuff. I know quite a bit, but I'm not an expert by any means. And there are people out there that know way more than me. But I'm learning because I like to be up there with the big wigs, if you know what I mean. So, and don't even get me started on software updates. We click Remind Me Later for 6 months straight. I've done it, and we shouldn't do that because that's also a horrible thing, because you're just feeding into a hacker, and they're going to eventually get you. Don't do that. Just don't. Make sure you do it. Just get your updates and everything. And then when support, another funny thing is when you call tech support and they say, okay, have you tried turning off and on your device again? It's like, yes. Okay, well, then it's just the banter back and forth. It's funny because what we do is we try to act like we know what they're talking about, but sometimes we don't. Like, I will help people out with their tech stuff, no problem. But there are things that I don't even know. I'm not an expert. There's people that know more than me, and it's like, oh, that's a good question. Or what I love is when someone will say to me, hey, what about, have you ever considered doing it this way? And it's like, no, I didn't. Sometimes someone will show me something and it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd known that. That would have been so cool to have done that. So we treat tech like a relationship we're trying to impress. Like when you try to impress a boy or a girl that you like, we do the same thing with tech. We try to impress the person on the other line, the person next to us who's trying to help us get our tech equipment up and running. The next one is my favorite. It's the I'll organize it later technology, or better yet, lie. That's the lie we all tell ourselves. Oh, I'll organize this later. We say it when we save our files, download PDFs, click and drag it into our miscellaneous folder. We say it when we create a new folder called miscellaneous 1, 2, 3, 4. A desktop of our computers sometimes look like a crime scene, just unfolded. Now, everyone works in different manners. I cannot work with a cluttered desktop. I'm like, back off. Nope, not doing it. I need to be organized. If I'm not organized, I can't function and I can't work. But I've seen some computers and it's like, what the heck? It's like, I don't even know where to begin. It's funny. But we're all different. And that's what makes all of us special and unique, is we all have our different ways of doing things. So now, and then we also have a Word document. This is one where it's titled like new document 2800, new document 2801. It's just funny, like all these things that we have. We rename things and then we give up. Just like that, we give up. Because halfway through we find a file from 2016 that's titled important. We have no idea what it is. Digital organization is like a gym membership for tech habits. We love the idea, but the execution of it, not happening. Like we get that gym membership. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lose those stubborn 10 pounds. We don't do it. It's nice. The thought's there. And that's how it is with digital organization. It's like a gym membership for tech habits, of tech habits. It's there, but we don't do anything with it. And it does happen. Also, the other thing too that's a good one is voice assistants. We say, Siri, Alexa, Google, we talk to our devices and we expect them to respond. Voice assistants are supposed to make our lives easier. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't. But half the time they're just as confused as we are. You say, hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes, and then Siri says, all right, call in Tim. I didn't want to call Tim. Or if you say, hey Alexa, play me the most recent song in my playlist. And you know what that song is, but then they play you a country song from like 20 years ago. What? Like, what are you doing? Then you ask, the funny thing is, the other day I asked Google where we were. I said, hey Google, what's the weather for tonight? And they gave me the weather for Kenya, in Kenya. I'm not in Kenya. I am in the United States. They gave me the weather report for Kenya. I'm like, okay, well, that's good to know. It's like, these voice assistants are supposed to make lives easier, but sometimes, and they do, but sometimes they also don't. What's also funny is this notion that people think that our phones are listening to us, which I truly believe they are. Because if you notice, and I know I'm getting off the tangent here, but now let's say you're on your phone talking to a friend, or you're searching on YouTube for videos about, let's say, the paranormal, for example. And then have you noticed that when you get out of if you get out of Google, you go back into it and you look at you notice that you're coming up with videos of paranormal investigations. Same thing with, like, if I'm on the phone talking with someone and I'll talk about, I saw on Amazon they have this, this bacon mat that I've been looking for, and I'm thinking of buying it. And all of a sudden my Facebook feeds will show commercials or products for a bacon mat. Like, I do believe they listen. That's just my idea. But. Okay, lastly, GPS overconfidence. So let's talk about GPS. The digital parent we all obey without questions. So GPS says, okay, turn left on Broadway. You turn left. It says, make a U-turn. You make a U-turn. It says, even if you're on a one-way street, then it says, okay, you've arrived. You're supposed to arrive at a business, but you arrived at someone's house. You look around and think, what the heck has happened? We trust GPS more than we trust our own eyes, and then GPS turns around and reroutes us to someone's residence instead of the business we're trying to go to. We act like we felt betrayed. Like, come on, GPS, like, you know better than that. Why are you rerouting me? What did I do wrong? Are you mad at me? I've heard people talking to their their GPS devices. I find it funny, but I get it. But GPS has messed me up so many times. At this point, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna find it on my own, and if I get lost, so be it. But we're in a full relationship with our navigation apps. We always try to, there's always a way to, they seem to get us every single time. I do want to add on one quick final note on this is I'm good with tech bluff. Basically, we pretend like we're tech experts until something breaks and someone says, hey, this broke, can you help me fix it? And we're sitting there scratching our heads like, I better go on YouTube and see how I can fix this. Because you don't want to appear like you don't know what you're doing. Because someone's coming to you asking you for help. And it's like, you don't want to turn them away and say, you know what, I don't know how to do this. You know, we've all done it. We've all done it. It's just the nature of the beast. Anyways, on that note, everyone, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Thank you very much. And again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mistress Sweet P, and click and like on my videos. Forward my videos to whomever. If you have any suggestions for video ideas, please email them to me, or in the YouTube channel link, just you can go ahead and just add a comment. I appreciate you all very much. Have an awesome, awesome, awesome day, and we will chat soon. Ciao.